Like, I know I found you through keto, and like I had explored keto, but it wasn't quite right for me. And so finding OFM really kind of tuned me in a little bit more, helped me settle in. And especially the work that you and I have talked about bringing your stress down. Bringing my stress down was so crucial. I just really didn't have any idea how stressed out I really was. I remember people would say, well, what's your stress level? I'm not stressed out. But now as
you just adapted to the stress.
Just adapted. Exactly. We're amazing at adapting to things.
Yes.
And that's fantastic. Look at this creature we are. But the more I shed stress, the better my life has become, and as well as tuning into myself as well. So that's been a really important part of my life for sure.
Yeah, and just coming back to being into your belly and your core, I think as a woman that's very important. But one of the things I wanted to also point out about, apart from the intuition, trusting your own feeling once you have your physiology working right, is an Alexander technique thing about when your biomechanics are right, you relax your diaphragm to breathe in, and then the air just comes right in. And when you're stressed, you can't relax that diaphragm. So you're using all this musculature with counter, you got one muscle working against another, one tension, counter tension. And when you're breathing properly and when you're not breathing properly.
Peter, that has been probably one of the most powerful experiences of my life. And then to have you corroborate what my experience was really extraordinary, because you introduced me to Alexander technique, but it was through another person, Irene Lyon, that I discovered Feldenkrais, whom you said is
he was a student of FM Alexander's, and both of them had really strong personalities, so it didn't work well.
Yeah. Well, it was when I finally went, I have tried, like I said, I've been trying to bring my physiology into a healthy space for 16 years, really. And it wasn't until I went and had a session with a Feldenkrais practitioner that I realized I have never walked effectively in my life. And since then, I have been trying to adjust my whole frame, because every little trauma, every little stress that I've had in my life, I have stored it in my tissues.
Yeah.
I'm holding it.
Yep.
That's right. And my entire body was crooked, and everything was crooked. And so when I mentioned earlier about how this lovely little beautiful fairy ran by me, this beautiful young woman ran by me, with beautiful grace and ease. And I just said, how do I do that? That's when I really started to dive in. I had mostly gotten the diet under control and learned about a little bit about stress and so on. A little bit, but not enough. But then I started to realize, okay, what is happening with my frame? And every little issue that I've had throughout my life, and some of the early days weren't so great. There were some things there, but I continued throughout my life to add more and more and more pressure to my body. And what you were talking about earlier about the belly and about the diaphragm, and that first time that I went for a walk and I actually moved my body in the way that I learned was possible, and my belly expanded and breathing became effortless, and it felt like my body could move forever in that way. It was like the first time I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. The second time I was like, oh, this is cool, I'm doing it. The third time I was like, it felt like this is what life is supposed to be like. It's supposed to be easy and graceful like this. And it's still a practice, because everything around us right now is creating a little bit more stress, or at least I choose to look at it that way anyway. And so the habit, I'm trying to break those habits and I'm trying to adjust those habits of how I move and how I hold my body. And right now I'm doing something called network spinal chiropractic. And it is really, really helping me to shift my frame and to loosen, as well as a really powerful meditative practice that I'm doing. And really noticed that in the first really good run that I did in a couple of years now with my son the other day, that I was actually able to stretch my leg all the way back in a way that I didn't know was possible before. I was able to move my glutes and my legs in ways that I didn't think were possible. And I had a glimmer of how that lovely, beautiful young woman was running through the forest, so graceful. And like, now I can see it, and now it's possible.
One of the things when you're running is a dynamic balance. But it's no different than standing, walking, or running. Because when you're standing, you're having your center. We have an arch on our foot for a reason. And we're supposed to have our center of gravity over that arch. So when you're standing, it's not a static thing. It's a dynamic thing. So when you're over your arch, that'll feel weird because you're letting go. You're relaxing those muscles and balancing those muscles. Most people are sitting back on their heels.
You know what's creates, please go ahead.
Yeah, that creates tension, counter tension. But when you're over your arch, you're distributing the load across your footbed because that's what an arch is for. But then that sets up the proper distribution of weight across the surface area of all the joints, the ankles, the knees, the hips, and right up the spinal column to the back of the head. So the point I wanted to make for you and divert is when you're running, you'll get to the point where that microsecond where your foot comes underneath you on the foot strike, each foot, you'll feel this tap where that grounding occurs right under your center of gravity. It'll go right up to the base of your spine, right to the base of your head. And you'll just feel that. And that's when you're going to be in this dynamic balance. You want to go faster, you just lean from the ankles a little farther forward. If you want to go slower, you lean from the ankles a little bit back. And you can play with that.
Yeah.
And it's the same with standing. Okay. You just go back and forth from your ankles, and that's how you do it. But you'll feel that micro thing of it's like you're driving a little stake right up to the base of your skull, and it's like you're in proper alignment. So, and then that allows your hip to rotate forward, get into that balance to where when you're breathing, whether you're running, standing, lying down, your diaphragm is relaxing down. The air just comes in on its own. You're supremely efficient. You got that occipital movement of your arms, where you got the right leg going forward, the left arm going forward, and everything works in that flow state. So
pardon me, I want to mention the arch in our back as well, because for myself, I just had this belief that I was supposed to suck in my gut and suck in my gut and be straight. And it was actually the relaxing of my belly into my pelvic bowl and not holding it up. That was really crucial for me.
Yes, it's that bringing that pelvis down, because when we have tension, it's in the small of our back, and it tilts that pelvis up, and that's what creates tight hamstrings, all those things.